Hello, I'm DiProfio. I'm one of the change leads for the Financial Information System project. The FAS team has created this video to provide context to a request for index number categorization. This video is meant to supplement the written guidelines that are included with the shared spreadsheet that has been sent out to each Vice Chancellor contact. We currently have over 60,000 active index numbers in the system. These index numbers were created over the last several decades for many different purposes. The index numbers were set up for new projects, new courses, faculty startup, fellowships, etc. All of these different purposes are important, and we need to decide how we're going to replicate that granularity in the new chart of accounts and the Oracle financial systems. So we need your help to categorize the existing index numbers today. So each Vice Chancellor area has been sent out a spreadsheet to be completed, and they're going to need your help to get it all done by the middle of July 2019. So what are we doing? The real purpose of this is that we need to get a full mapping of all of our index numbers to new chart string values. This is going to be used for the new system when we have to transfer budgets and balances from the existing legacy chart to the new chart. This will also be used for any sort of crosswalk for old index numbers to new chart strings that need to be put in for any of our subsystems. Unfortunately, we're not quite ready to do the full mapping at this point. There's still decisions that need to be made, and we need to test out different options in the new system in order to decide exactly how everything's going to be mapped. So we've separated the index mapping into two phases. The first phase is index categorization, and that's what we're working on right now. And then phase 2 will be later on this summer or early fall. And the point of that phase will be a full index crosswalk where every active index number is mapped to a new chart string value. So once the index categorization is complete, the design leads will take this information in order to make design decisions on how to configure the new system. And this will also help all of the end users when we get to the full index crosswalk in phase 2 if they've already gone through the initial index categorization phase. So the deadline for this project is July 17th, 2019. I recognize that this is right in the middle of fiscal close and summer vacations, that for many of you, this might not be the greatest time. At the same time, we have to get this done because the design leads need the information for index categories in order to make the design decisions. So what we've done is to make the process as easy as possible is the project has set up shared spreadsheets for each Vice Chancellor area. We've provided as much information where we could pre-populate some values. We've also included all the legacy chart data to assist you when you go through and categorize. So how are we going to do this? We're going to crowdsource. It's not feasible to have someone in general accounting go through all 60,000 of our index numbers and map them to new chart strings. They don't have the expertise, they don't have the knowledge as to what all the index numbers are used for. So we really need all of the end users to go through and decide and determine what the index numbers, why they were created, and what they're for. So what we will do is we will send out through the Change Network. We have files set up for each organization level 1 for each Vice Chancellor. Each Vice Chancellor area for their file has a tab for each organization level 2. And then all of the other data has been put into the file, and all of the legacy data is there and available so that you can filter and categorize as needed. And I'll show in a minute how to get that done. Once you've completed your work, you'll contact your Change Network contact in order to inform them that everything is complete. So I'll show a sample in a second, but what it's going to look like is the first step is to review the instructions tab on the sheet. Then review the index categorizations to make sure that you're familiar with what's out there. Then you're going to go to find where your data is, and then go through and use the various fields to filter, use the pre-population information, whatever you need in order to categorize all of your index numbers. So let's go live to the system right now. So you will get a link from your Change Network contact, and it will either bring you to a folder that looks something like this, or it will be a link direct to your spreadsheet. So I'm going to pull up one for Academic Affairs. The first two tabs will look the same for all spreadsheets. There is an Instructions tab, so please go through and review the instructions. And then there's an Index Categorization list. So this is a list of about 24 index number categories that a group has put together to try to figure out what index numbers are for and why they were created. So please take a look at them. We try to word them as best we can, but we recognize that people have different ways that they describe things. For instance, you might have milestone billing, or you might have something that is task specific, or you might have something that is based on time periods. In reality, all of those are the same and will be handled the same, but we try to put a few different categories so that people can record whatever is most appropriate for them. So I'm going to go through and do an example for biology. So every area has all their index numbers pre-populated here. You might notice that there are hidden rows, and that's because we've filtered for only active index numbers. If you would like, you can go through and include inactive index numbers as well. It's not required for this project, but I've heard from some areas that they're interested in also mapping their inactive index numbers for future purposes. That's okay, but for now we're only looking for active index numbers. The first two columns in green, these are the ones that you're going to be filling out, and really only the first column is required. So this is a drop-down menu that links to the index categorization list tab. So you need to go through and pick the appropriate category for each index number. I'll go through the rest of the columns to show you what's here and available for you. So we have the index, index title, and the index status. All of these yellow columns here are the pre-populated fields, and I'm going to come back to those in a second. To the farther right, we have the remainder of the chart of accounts information today. So the legacy fund, fund title, the organization code, organization title, org levels 1 through 3, and program codes at the very end. What we've done is to go through and try to see if we can pre-populate as much of the information as possible using the fund, org, and program combinations. So for instance, if there was a unique fund org program and that there's only one index number, we've said maybe that index number really only exists because it's truly a shortcut. Or if there's a fund number that's associated with recharges, we've gone through and said this is a recharge activity. So you can use these filters in order to determine if you want to be able to pre-populate this as much as possible based on what these filters are. They might not be exact, there might be multiple filters, but do whatever you can that makes it easier for you. So another thing you can do is, let's say I want to categorize by startup. I can go to text filters. I can use any filter I want. I will use contains, and I'm just going to search for the word start. And this will pull up all of the index numbers in biology that contain the word start somewhere in their title. So you can see right here that these are clearly startup. So I would go through and I would say startup. I could copy and paste this all the way down the list. I notice this top one, although it has the word start in it, is actually not a startup. So in that case, I would leave it blank and maybe put it as some other category. So the idea is, however you need to, you can go through, use the filters, use the fields to try to group as many of these as you can in batches. And then once you're done, remove all the filters and you can go through one by one and complete the rest of them. Quick notes. I recognize that some index numbers might have multiple categories and that you might not be sure exactly which category to use. That's okay. Really try to use whatever the primary purpose of that index number is for. And if you're not sure, do your best. And that kind of goes with the next bullet as well, which is try to use the existing categories as much as possible. So we recognize that there might not be the exact category that you're looking for, but if we remember the purpose behind this activity, it's to inform the design leads as to what type of things they need to account for in the system. We have over 60,000 index numbers. We obviously can't have 60,000 categories. So if we can get it down to a couple dozen categories, they can go through and set the system up for that. If there is something that is missing, and we recognize that it's entirely possible that there's a very important broad category that represents a large part of the campus and that we've missed it, please let us know. So in order to do that, I want you to make the edit right in the spreadsheet. So for instance, if this was a category that was missing, and I wanted to make a note about it, I can go up to here to comments, and I would put in a new comment, and you can say, and then whatever the category is, you can type a comment, let me know what it is, why it needs to be added. And then the key is put the @ symbol and then put my name. And what that will do is when you click the post button, it will not only store the comment, but it'll also send me a notification that there's something that I need to address. So please note that this is a shared document. There will be multiple users that can have access edits that can be editing at the exact same time. So please make sure you don't overwrite other people and be aware that you might see other people editing the system at the same time. And finally, this is a shared spreadsheet. Please don't send me an email. All the edits and all the comments should be done direct in the spreadsheet itself. So I'd like to thank you for your help with this project. I realize that you might have additional questions, so please use the comments within the shared spreadsheet to record any questions or concerns you have. Thank you again.